some budgeting tips. We all know these tips, but it just helps sometimes to just put it in perspective. You have your tithes and offerings. After that, can you take out a minimum of an extra 10% for yourself? If you wait till the end of the month, there is nothing left. But if you do a direct debit as soon as your salary hits your account and set it aside every month, you'll find that you're able to save regularly. Automate it. It's so hard to force yourself to set money aside, but if you have it automated, that makes it much easier. Shopping with a list. You know what it's like going to a major supermarket without a list. Ladies, we're all guilty. You just go down from aisle to aisle and pick everything off the shelves. But with a list, it helps you to curb the excess. Where does your money go? Is it ashwebi? Is it shoes and bags? Is it eating out? You need to look at yourself. Ashwebi riles me up sometimes. There was once I had a friend's wedding, and a friend's and daughter's wedding. I normally would rather just wear what I have, but this time I decided to go to her house and see about the ashwebi. It was 150,000 naira. I was horrified. So I declined, but I had to take the head tie, which was 20, not a very nice one, but anyway, I did that. The color was gold. So my sister and I, we were both going together. We both found a piece of gold, some gold that we'd used before, got to the wedding. We thought we looked okay. Clearly we didn't. We got there, sat down, and found that there was A grade, B grade, and C grade food. And suddenly the A grade food was passing us by. Apparently that was only for those in the A grade wear. And then when it came to the going away bags, we got mugs and notebooks, but other people got nice dishes and so on. But it didn't matter. We saved 150,000 naira, quite frankly. So it's nice for ladies to all look the same and so on, but be careful. I have too many people that come to me, and when I look at their budget, a huge amount of their money actually went on keeping up, trying to keep up with everybody else. You don't actually have to do that. The pressure is enormous. But just be careful. When you have goals, you're trying to pay off your debt, or you're trying to buy a property, nothing will defray your thoughts. You'll want to do what you need to do to make sure you meet your goals. So it's much easier. It starts with having a budget. Your balance sheet. Many of you have your own businesses or are setting up small businesses. You have to have a personal balance sheet the same way your business has a balance sheet. How much do you have? Cash, bank accounts, stocks, mutual funds, property, mortgages, your liabilities. You have housing loans, car loans, utility bills. What do you have left when you take your liabilities from your assets? You need to know your net worth. Is your net worth growing every year? You should try to do a review of your finances at least once a year, just to know that you're doing things right. And your income statement, how much comes in? How much goes out? Today's Workers' Day. Hardly anyone can live on their salary. It's just difficult. You need multiple streams of income. What are you doing about that? Nobody can pay you what you want or what you feel you deserve. So you've got to look at other ways to earn additional income. Now let's talk about debt. Debt can be a dream killer, but it can also be one of the best ways to leverage for your financial security. It's how you determine your debt that matters. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt is debt that you use to grow your finances, grow your financial future. Borrowing to buy property, borrowing for your education. But bad debt, borrowing for jewelry, borrowing for clothes, borrowing for holidays, that does not help you to grow your financial future. Dealing with debt is critical. Most of the time, you borrow from friends and family for many of your needs. If you're someone that borrows and never pays back, It's a huge issue. You think that it's working for you, but the day you really have a need, you won't have anyone lending to you. Most of the time, family and friends give you interest-free loans, which is great for your small business starting out. But if you're somebody that sees the person that you're owing and goes through the back door, takes them off your phone, we all know it's so annoying. It is so annoying. So if you're one of those people dodging your lenders right now, please call them up today and apologize. And then ask for a different payment plan that you can manage more effectively. It is so important to be in control of your debt. So try to deal with that as a first. You can't even start saving without dealing with your debt and bringing it under control. When it comes to saving, we all need an emergency fund. You've heard about an emergency fund, which is something about 6 months of expenses that must be kept in a money market short-term account that you can have easy access to. We all need it. Even if the interest rate doesn't pay you a huge amount, you need those savings. Things happen. A few weeks ago, one of my aunts was ill. We were all levied. I don't want to sell shares to pay my share. I have to just send some money from my bank account to assist with the expenses. So you need that. Something happens to your car, your generator. You know, we always have emergencies here, so it's important that you have some savings. Look at this interesting slide. This just talks about the power of time and the power of compound interest. It's fantastic for young people. If a 25-year-old invests in a deposit, just a deposit, at 10% per annum, by the time they're 60 years old, it will be about 149 billion naira. Now, of course, there's devaluation, there's inflation. We're not counting any of those. I'm just looking at it in the bare numbers. If you're 40 years old and you started to do the same thing, 500,000 a year, so it's about 50,000 a month, it comes to 32 million. You can just see the huge difference of the power of investing when you're young. Now, of course, you're not going to just put in a deposit. You'll be buying stocks, you'll be buying mutual funds, you'll be buying property. So you can imagine the impact of saving when you're young. So please, if you haven't saved yet, you must start with, first of all, the emergency fund. Start with having at least 6 months of your expenses tucked away in a money market deposit account. Now let's talk about investing. To me, you are your greatest asset. There's no investment that surpasses investing in yourself. So who are you? What is your purpose, your values, your reputation, your goals? Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? Do you develop yourself? Do you read widely? Do you educate yourself? It truly is the most important investment of all. Each of us, I feel, has at least one or more unique God-given talents. I know it's Workers' Day and we're celebrating workers. Many of you may not have a job. There are very few jobs out there. But what have you done about your own unique God-given talent? It really is what you can use to change the world. What are you passionate about? What are you exceptionally gifted at? What are your hobbies? You might be an engineer, but are you brilliant with computers? Are you great at teaching music? Are you good with singing, dancing, writing? What can you do? Are you great at graphic design? You know, those things that you're passionate about are what you can use to propel you to greater heights. So sometimes unemployment can be that platform, that push that someone needs to really propel you to greater things. You have to look inwards. It's your responsibility to find your God-given talent, identify it, nurture it, utilize it, and leverage on it. And if you have children, please look out for that talent as early as possible. You can spot your child's talent from the time they're 3-4 years old. You need to put some investment in it. It is so important because you are really giving them a huge advantage. If your child is showing incredible skill in music, in football, in mathematics, whatever it is, zoom in on that and try and give it all you've got. It'll be amazing what they can do with it later on. Every Every day we see young people, articulate graduates. Your degree does not owe you a job. It is so important that you realize that. When I graduated, it was almost automatic. I would get a job. That is not the case now, and that is okay. So don't feel that anyone owes you a job. Maybe it's time for you to create jobs for others. It's so important that you change that entire mindset and look at employment and entrepreneurship. You have the skills, you have the tools, and it comes from developing yourself, cultivating a network, trying to ensure that you always are able to add value.